Did you guys ever do any music videos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like an actual music video, yeah?
Yeah, we had one to, what was that one, the BMW song, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we did one for a BMW Best Man on Wax.
The one at the sheriff at from Garfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. At that,
I don't have a copy of it though.
I wonder if
You
you guys...
don't? Man.
Do you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I ever had a copy.
Oh,
of it.
okay.
I remember shooting it, but
What about
Yeah.
Sacktown Raps? That video stuff.
Yeah, well, they use a little bit of that video on the intro, but yeah. So we started. Well, I'm not saying I started it, but we were a part of the very first like rap video program. Definitely in the Sacramento area. I don't know about like what the Bay Area had going on, but it was a show called Hip Hop 90.
Yeah.
So since then, there's been a ton of them. So, yeah. So I remember I won a Battle of the DJ. That's how I got the gig. There was a Battle of the DJ at the Crest Theater, and first prize was to be able to co-host the show. And the host at the time was Morris B. Now he goes by Morris Knight.
Yeah.
Shout out to him too. He's on the radio in the Bay Area. So I came in and co-hosted it. Morris was the actual host. But yeah, I won that Battle of the DJ. I remember that that Battle of the DJ too. The promoter got stabbed in the face in the in the alley. Yeah, that's right. Because
was that the one that Sway came down? Was that
Yes.
Top 90? Yeah,
Yep.
it was beginning. Yeah. that
Yeah,
was when
Sway
I
and
first
King
met
Tech.
Sway and King Tech.
yeah, Sway, real cool. I didn't get a chance to talk to King
that was
Tech
before
much,
he
but
was doing his hip hop radio thing.
yeah, it was before the what was that show they had on the radio? The Sway. Yeah, but what was the name of the whole show they had? I can't. It's not important, but the Wake Up. Was the Wake Up Show?
Wake Up Show.
Oh, okay.
Universe.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, no, it was before, way before that. It was when they
it
were on
was way before-
KMEL.
They were actually had a record out at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember
Follow for Now or
Follow
something.
for Now, yeah, because they sampled the
Rakim.
yeah, Follow for Now.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, so we had them. We had a bunch of like Sacramento folks too. So it was good times. I have a couple like videos of that. You know what I mean? So I'll try to get them to you here. You know what I mean? That's not the whole show, but anyway. But it was the first of its kind. So right after that, there was different promoters that came in and started trying to basically follow that pattern of the whole video thing and this, that, and the other. So after the guy that was dude named Kevin, I can't think of his last name, did the Hip Hop 90. After that ended, someone else came in and then had me. I hosted it for like, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 episodes, and I just couldn't do it because I was working at the time, and the person that was promoting it wanted me like during the week to go out to nightclubs and interview people. And I was like, I can't do it. You know, I got to get up. You know, I don't want to lose my job, this, that, and the other. So she ended up getting, I think the next person was Sid Singleton from Black Market. So he took it over after that. And then after that, there was a bunch of other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, okay. Shit. So you guys had an interview on that show.
Yeah, we were the interviewers. Yeah.
Okay.
He hosted the show.
Yeah. But when we did bring the group in, yeah, of course.
Crew on there.
Yeah, and Laidback Rob was right there with me the whole time as well.
Access, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I probably was. Ain't no telling.
So
Bring everything in, set up.
So those that remember, Rob used to have that black, was it a Mazda?
Mazda truck.
Yeah, we used to load all that equipment in the back of his
The
truck.
U-Haul.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. I mean, you go back 30 years, worth of hip hop, and in this area, and just all the people you come across and work with, and opened up for or did shows with. It's like, there were a lot, and then you see some that just like elevated to these different levels. You know what I mean? Like when we were doing the ill-fated projects at that time. I think Ebro was just coming out of high school and started working, at FM 102. So we're always trying to get our stuff to him and get it on the rap shows. You know what I mean? Try to get that buzz going. You know.
Yeah.
Well, 2018, that'll be like 30 years. And then plus you got to add all the way up to 2024. So that's about 35 years.
35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
What was the SOS Alliance?
That was just more or less just a group of us that hung out together that did the same thing. We talked about our boy Monty. He was a DJ. He came from a different crew, different group or whatever. So we all hung out. A lot of times he would get gigs and he would bring me along and vice versa. So we just call it the SOS. Spinners of Sac is what it stood for. Spinners of Sac Alliance. So yeah, so I got a lot of gigs through him. I remember there was they used to do parties up at the what's that place out in Rancho? Remember that little golf course?
Royal, what was it?
Yeah, Mineshaft. Yes,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
DJ at Mineshaft out there. So he got me like he got on up there. So then he brought me on. So basically, we just cruise at the same neighborhood, same high school. So it was like let's just we just did stuff together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to be hella shy. He used to just be like, get on the mic anyway. And shit, pretty soon I worked through it. I wasn't shy no more, especially by the time we made it to Cal Expo. I wasn't shy no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when we performed at Gady,
Yeah.
the school I went to, I think that's when I broke my shyness right there.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
able to be around, in my neighborhood and, around some of my peers, and I figured if I could do it in front of them, I could do it anywhere.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I remember, I think my shyness broke. It was a while. I was still in high. I was still like 14, 15 when I went down there. I remember they had on Florence Road. They had that little teen nightclub right across from 29.
I remember that.
The beat.
And Bobby, Jimmy, and the Critters came up there, and Russ Parr, like anybody can rap. And I was like, me, and he pulled me up there, and I rapped in front of all the people that was there. It was like a packed house, and, that was it for me. That was like, okay, this is what I want to do now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, this is what I want to do. And he's, Bobby Jimmy was always, Russ Parr was always cool, because I was kind of like back and forth between L.A., and he was also on the radio in L.A. at, it had to been K-Day.
Yeah.
It had to be K-Day.
It was.
And so when I moved back down there, I hit him up on the radio. He's like, cool. Sometimes I went and hung out with him, and he let us answer phones and stuff, and just hang out at the radio station and stuff. But he's always cool. So he was very influential in my early career. Encouraging me to do things and keep me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, and he comes from musical background too. His dad was a big name in jazz, correct?
Blues.
Blues. Rhythm
Blues.
Blues.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Rhythm and blues, and I even found some stuff. He did a lot of gospel. His name was Leon Bonds.
Okay.
Whoa. I mean, he's been around since the '60s doing a bunch of stuff. For a lot of major labels, he was producer and writer for Etta James,
Wow.
blues legend. Irma Thomas, who's a legend in that game in New Orleans. So shouts out to my pops.
What's up, man?
Was his name one more time?
Leon Bonds or David Bonds.
Okay.
He go by either one. So
Right on. Mixed Image Records. How'd that name come up?
That is a good question. I think it was just more of, at the time I was thinking, okay, let's have a blend of different things. So it wasn't going to be any specific type, because I wanted to produce, now I guess they call it freestyle type music or whatever. So it was going to be like a mixture of a few different things or whatever. And then on top of that, me still being a DJ, doing the whole mix thing, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm trying to make stuff up as we go here, so couldn't tell you. But that's pretty much it.
I
You
wish
know.
I could jump in. That was kind of like, that was your thing. So I don't know how you came up with that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, though. I mean, I can kind of think back or whatever. So it's just kind of like like a blend and just like a mixture of this, that, and the other. Nothing major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Self-explanatory. Huh? All right.
So I just want to say this too. So we started off on the right foot. Like I said, I had a lot of help from Daryl Dennis. Like I said, put me on or whatever. He hooked me up with a lot of promoters, this, that, and the other. And we just hung out. I mean, we used to hang out, go to the clubs a lot together. Whenever he would promote his music, like in the Bay, I would roll down there with him, go in the studio with him, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he's like a brother, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, I talked to him the other day. So, we found our distributor, right? So City Hall was our distributor in the Bay Area. So they were the first ones to distribute like E40 and all the big Bay Area artists back then. City Hall, and then a few years later, Music People came about. So we got hooked up. They accepted our, so they were our distributors back then. So that was before like CD Baby and Distro Kid and all that kind of stuff. They were actual physical distributors. They would get your stuff and be able to get it in the stores and all that. And now, I mean, they don't really have too many record stores or whatever. So we got hooked up with City Hall. But with me, it was a learning process. I didn't really know how the process went as far as like you give them records. I was thinking I give them our records. We sell a few here in Tower Records. Next thing you know, where's our check? You know what I mean? I didn't know it didn't work that way. You know what I mean? So it was a learning process. And that didn't really go too well, I'll be honest with you. But, now I know. But again, it goes back to like whenever you're dealing with a distributor back then, I mean, now, like I said, it's different because everything is like digital. But back then, the distributor would want 5,000 units, 10,000, 20,000 units or whatever. And so again, we couldn't afford that many units. So he did take us in, even though we didn't have as many units as say like a E40 and a Click or Mac Mall or Ray Love and all them. You know what I mean? So, but we kind of just learned as we went. You know what I mean? And so. It definitely hindered us, but again, we wouldn't be here now, you know what I mean? And so, a lot of kids nowadays, they just think, record something in the bedroom, put it out on CD Baby or YouTube or whatever. And, for a lot of them, it does work that way. But, I try to tell people, I mean, if you can get lucky that way, it's all good, but don't bank on it, you know what I mean? So we had our distribution. I guess that's where I was going with it. We had our distribution, and then from then on, we kind of started doing it, selling it, out of the trunk, and consigning and stuff like that. And then with Tower Records, being from Sacramento, founded in Sacramento, we would sell out a lot, like within a week on some of our projects. So like there was one out there on Sunrise Mall by Birdcage. There was one on Watt Avenue. There was one on Broadway, and then one on Florin Road. I like every probably 3 or 4 or 5 days I would call up there. So we got one left. So that's like, all right, I got to go back up there and stock them, And this was big when that Inter 916 hit FM 102. That's when it really started to. I had to stay on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I bet those were flying off the shelves.
Yes, they were, and they even gave us like a display on the front counter. You know what I mean? And I know there was another one, because that was the Sacktown Rap All Stars. So I know there was another label that put together, a group, and they did a similar Stop the Violence type project or whatever. But ours was the one that really blew up. So I remember going down to we went down, did an interview with Billy Jam. Down in the Bay Area years ago, so I took samples from his interview.
DJ I-Night are going to stay in the house strong till 6 o'clock.
DJ I-Night, he's like dope to I am a night. DJ I-Night, we're running up DJs, leaving nothing but I am a night. DJ I-Night, we're running up DJs, leaving nothing but I am a night.
Stuff like that. I want to give a shout out also to my boy Frank Ramirez down in Santa Barbara. He's a big promoter down there. Huge, but still good friends to this day. We message each other, back and forth on Facebook. So we went down there and did a show and all that, and That's a story for a whole nother time.
I was just gonna ask about him. He played you guys on the radio a little bit down there.
Yes.
In Santa Barbara.
Yes. Yeah. Then so we went down there, did an interview on the radio down in Santa Barbara, and then he took us around to a few clubs and just walked us in, and they played our record and stuff like that. So it was all good. And then on top of that, he gave me a list of, because he's like a big promoter there. So he knows, I mean, everybody from Ice-T to you name it, all the Egyptian Lovers, anybody big from down there, he's worked with, he interviewed them or whatever. So he gave me a list of all their phone numbers. While we were down there, I called up Ice-T. Well, it was his production company or whatever. He lived in Hollywood Hills, and his production team was in there working. So I got the dude on the phone. He said, "Yeah, come on through." Because I told him we were down there from Sacramento promoting our whatever. He said, "Come on through." Gave us the address. Went up to Ice-T's house. It was tight. He wasn't there though. They said he was off filming some kind of TV stuff or whatever. But so that was tight. And then I mean, like man, just a bunch of other folks down there. So that really helped us out and got us tied into like the Southern California market. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What were you using to make beats back in the day when you did It's the Joint?
What was I mainly using? That is a good question.
My mom's pots and pans.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Like I was saying with Action Pack, we had one functioning turntable, and just like I said, yep, like Rob was just saying, 4 tracks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, man, any way we could put it together. You know, like I said, we couldn't afford the samplers and stuff, and sampling was just kind of brand new at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, I know I had an Alesis like SR16 or something drum machine, but I used a Roland sampler. Matter of fact, it was Daryl Dennis's. He just let me use it for a long time, and I did a lot of my sampling through that, but I had to do it manually because I didn't use sequencers or nothing like that. So, yeah, but like I said, I mean, I sampled a lot, so a lot of the beats were samples that I would, you know, try to chop up or whatever. So, for the most part, again, our financial situation really kind of affected that, you know what I mean? Because some folks had an 808. That's what I really wanted, but yeah, so that's one thing too. I see a lot of these, you know, documentaries about like history of Sacramento rap, and there's so much that's left out. It's like, come on, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But whatever.
That's what we're doing this.
Yeah, that's right.
So who was the first one to have a child? Me. That was 1990.
Man, you had a kid. Yeah, it was you, man.
Yeah, I know.
So in 1990, when I had my first children, that's kind of like when I started disappearing. I had to go change some diapers or something.
Yeah.
Responsibilities.
Yep, that's it.
What was it like when that Enter the 916 hearing yourself on the radio?
That was dope.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
I remember the first time I heard it. I was on my way driving home from work, and it came on the radio, and I was just like, I'm rushing like home because I'm trying to, I think we were living together at that time, and I'm like rushing home like, it's on the radio, it's on the radio.
Yeah.
Battle of the New Jams. Enter 916 by the Sacktown Rap All-Stars. Going against the latest from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give it away. And the results are, the winner is...
Sacktown Rap All-Stars.
Yeah, you've been in the valley, the big valley, better known as Sacktown. 916. Don't be afraid, just open your mind.
916, not 916, of course, being the area code.
Yeah, you can't beat that feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember hearing it in jail, man. That's a shame.
Yeah, I remember my brother told me he went into some restaurant, like some pizza place or Chinese food place or whatever. They had the radio on in the back, and it came on, and he was saying, "Oh, that's my brother." And the lady looked at him like, "Okay, can you take your order?"
Right.
Yeah, I know.
We on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. It definitely was. Opened a lot of doors. Because that's ultimately what that's your goal, is to get played on the radio, you know what I mean? Especially in your own hometown. And, you know, and Marcus Allen, he still does stuff on the TV or whatever. He kind of, because him and Mix were good friends. And so he kind of helped us out too, you know, helping us promote it a little bit. Like, You know what I mean? Playing it. Matter of fact, I'm not sure how many weeks in a row we were number one on the top 9 at 9. But that was his time slot. So, you know, he would kind of hype it up or whatever. So, yeah, I was like, man, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some accomplishment on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard we got blown up on KMEL though.
Oh, sorry.
Remember they said they played it, Sacktown Rap All Stars, and they like spun it out and blew it up. Like, I was like, okay. All right, so we ain't Bay Area. All right.
Yeah, I know exactly. Exactly. That's all right.
And that's you talking in the background, right? Saying, yeah, you've entered the valley.
Yes.
The big, okay. I thought that was your voice kind of just cranked down. Shit, what about that KCRA TV show? What was it like being on that? Was that exciting or what?
Once again, I've seen them on TV in jail.
We hear a lot about the violent and controversial aspects of rap music. But has rap gotten a bad rap? Well, if you have teenagers at home, you probably know that rap is to the youth of today what rock and roll and swing were to past generations. Channel 3's Ben Sterler reports that a lot of what passes for rap is harmless pop music.
This rap song is no more controversial than the decision to take Gilligan along on a 3-hour tour.
High risk, it's sort of like a crap game due to the fact your life might change.
This is a local rap group called TECHNI. TECHNI has a decidedly non-violent message.
Don't kill another brother so you can get paid.
Many people say that rap lyrics are no more inflammatory than heavy metal lyrics. And they may be right. Lyric warning labels appeared on rock albums first. Case in point, the first Doors album, considered to be a venerable classic by some. But there's a cut on here that the media 24 years ago didn't pay much attention to. In it, Jim Morrison sings about killing his dad.
Father, yes, son, I want to kill you.
If that song came out today on a rap album, it would probably be front page news.
Rap is so much in the media and the focus of the media that anything that goes on in rap music is going to be blown up and blown out of proportion. You know, there's just as many fights, just as much violence at rock concerts as there is at rap.
Here's another example. A few years ago, Ozzy Osbourne had a song out glorifying suicide. TECHNI has a song out discouraging suicide.
I can't manage all the pain. I'm calling it quits because you be calling me insane because you want to stay in this world and strive. But I'll see you on the other side. I'm suicidal.
It's not right. You know, it's not right to commit suicide. Just stick it out. Things are going to get better. Things always get better.
How it came about was they just reached out. I think it was because they went to like Tower Records, and then since our record was in there, they got in contact with us through that. Talked to some of the people that work at Tower and said, these people here or whatever. So he contacted me and we just set it up or whatever, which was really good. I mean, I loved it. You know what I mean? I was nervous, I'll be honest with you.
To many, it's going to offend them, but hey, if you don't like our music, you don't have to buy it. That's what our theory is.
What was that piece about, though? Like, was it I think it was like the violence, or, stigma around rap at the time.
Yeah,
and they were trying to put together a piece that, shows some local artists that weren't doing that type of music, Yeah.
You did ask the same question about the thug.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that was all about. They were just and I think you have that up, John.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other artists that were on there as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so I loved it. I mean, again, at the time, just, that's free press, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking to do, is just get our name out there as much as possible. So, yeah, we were definitely fortunate because, there's been a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but there's been some interviews where we've been, like, I don't want to say overlooked, but someone didn't we couldn't connect with them to where, they interviewed us, different magazines, this, that, and the other. But, I mean, that's just how it goes. That was no big deal. But yeah, that was a blessing, though. I mean, because, Channel 3 or KCRA is, a huge station, and like I said, that dude now, he's national. But I'm just glad, kept a copy of it. I thought it was a good piece,
some of the songs on there, that was Danger Island. Like, we hadn't even put it out yet. We were still working on that album at the time when we did that piece.
The young men from the group TECHNI crew make no apologies. Theirs is an art form born on the streets, and they want to keep it there. Love it or loathe it, they write a searing social commentary on what it's like growing up black and male and living close to the edge.
A normal reaction is to run and hide, but I'll find yourself. Why should you even try to avoid me? Because I always speak the facts, and that might strike a nerve in people that's not black. Call me racist, but I'm in a rat race of proving myself to the man with the pale face. So naturally, for all the years I've been held down, I had to come up and step on a few toes, so what?
We come from the heart. Whatever we talk about in our songs, we really feel. You know, it's something that bothers us, it's something that, you know, angers us, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's why we write about it. You know, we're not going to try to make something up. You know, if that was the case, we'd make up a little fairy tale or something.
Don't be afraid of the dark, you must understand. Cowboy is nothing but an ordinary black man. In this world of black person, the stereotype, we all steal and we all live a lie. They say that blacks are nothing but troublemakers. They label us thugs, tell us we're free from nature.
I remember we were like, what are we going to rap? You know what I mean?
So we
put on the beat that we were currently working on that song. So when you hear that stuff, when you hear those songs being played in that interview, it was like we were still working on those songs at that time.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you were explaining suicidal.
Yeah.
Behind that.
You know, and I want to say this too. I want to give them their flowers, as they say. You know, I look back now at the stuff that they wrote and said, and I'm like, man, I was deep. At the time, I didn't realize it because I wasn't really thinking about it much. I was thinking about beats, getting stuff together, getting it out, and promotions. Yeah, so, but now I look back, you know, and I have a lot of people that come up to me now too and say, you know, but just how much they loved it and how deep certain things were, like the suicidal song or this and that. I'm like, and I'll go back, you know, every now and then to listen to our old stuff. You know, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, I was, you know, especially compared to the lyrics that you hear nowadays. I'm like, man, we was, you know, trailblazing, but, you know, it is what it is. But it's good to look back on or whatever. So
I just think during that time back then was like people, you know, hip hop was still fairly new. And people were willing to try different things and trying to find out that groove. I mean, like now everyone kind of is doing the same subject matter, the same, you know, I mean, rhythms.
Yeah.
You know, the same grooves and rhythms. But I mean, back then we had, you know, different grooves and rhythms, and you know, you had like, you know, the conscious rap over here, and then you had, you know, like I said, the gang rap, and then you had, you know, it was just, we were just all out there trying different things. So, yeah, it was definitely a golden era, I think, for hip hop.
yeah, and I always go back too. Back then, you had groups that had like meaning behind them, and albums had like themes.
Concepts.
You know, concepts. You know, you have like Public Enemy. You had different ones that were just different. You had Will Smith, you know, and Jazzy Jeff. You had NWA. So you had, each group had their own just character feeling life to it. Nowadays, it's some dude with some weird name that you can't even pronounce. I'm not hating now, you know. I know my son's probably watching this, you know, talking about I'm hating or whatever, but
young generation.
But still, I mean, you know what I'm saying though. It's just like real shallow or whatever. But like I look back, because Chuck D wasn't the greatest rapper to me, but I still loved Public Enemy. You know what I mean? I like watching their videos, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of people that I didn't think were the greatest rappers, but I just like their persona, what they brought to the table.
Story.
Yeah.
Tell a story. Meaningful story. Substance, experience. They knew the social times. So you get a lot of respect for what Eric B. or what they were doing.
Yeah, I'm one of those that believe that everything's kind of cyclical. Like it's gonna come back around, you know. And hopefully, I'm here to see it.
Yeah, I know.
Come back around. Yeah.
Yeah, but I give the credit as far as the challenge of giving us something to talk about other than all of the other negative stuff. So whoever was coming out with the topics always gave us a nice challenge.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, is like you don't see groups anymore either. Like, you know, now everything's like mostly individuals, you know, even R&B singers, you don't really see any groups, you know, everything is individual, you know what I mean? So that's another way that the game has changed, you know what I mean?